looked inseparable to millions of fans. Their bond felt real, warm, genuine, almost impossible to explain. But then the internet noticed something. The smiles felt different. The looks between them no longer the same. And because of just a few seconds caught on camera, the biggest fandom in the world began to divide. BTS is not just a music group. They're a global phenomenon, a symbol of an entire generation. Millions of people grew up with them, found comfort in their music, and found emotional connection in the relationships between the members themselves, because fans didn't only love BTS for their songs, they loved their chemistry, their friendship, the feeling that these 7 members were more than coworkers. They felt like family, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. And among all those relationships, one connection always stood out inside the fandom: Jungkook and Taehyung, or as fans call them, Taekook. They trained together as teenagers, struggled together, faced the pressure of fame together, and over the years, fans began to see their bond as something special. The way they looked at each other, the quiet jokes, the small moments hidden in the background, too many arm-wise, it felt authentic, closing parenthesis, and maybe because fans became so emotionally attached to that image, even the smallest change suddenly felt enormous. At first, nobody really noticed. There was no scandal, no dramatic statement, just tiny moments that the internet slowly began questioning. Closing parenthesis. A short clip went viral on TikTok. Jungkook looked quieter. Hyung seemed more distant. And within hours, millions of people were analyzing it. Something changed. They're not as close anymore. You noticed it too, right? Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. In the world of BTS fandom, one video can become thousands of theories. Fans started collecting clips. Old live streams backstage, interviews. Concert moments. Eye contact, facial expressions, even a few seconds of silence became evidence for endless speculation. Closing parenthesis. Some armies believed it was completely normal. They're older now, they're busy. Of course, their dynamic changed. But others began to believe there was something hidden behind the cameras. And from that moment on, the internet turned into an emotional investigation. And Twitter, now X, became filled with long threads about Jungkook and Taehyung. TikTok exploded with emotional edits. YouTube videos questioning their relationship gained millions of views. And slowly, the fandom split into two sides. Closing parenthesis. Some fans wanted to protect BTS's privacy. They argued that every interaction between members was being overanalyzed, that idols are not fictional characters, and not every expression has a hidden meaning. Closing parenthesis. But on the other side, some fans genuinely believed something had changed. Not because of hate, not because of drama, but because the energy between them felt different. And for those fans, that feeling hurt. Because for years, Taekook had become an emotional comfort for many people. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. It may sound extreme, but in K-pop, fan attachment runs incredibly deep. Fans spend years watching live streams, saving moments, memorizing details, and without realizing it, many begin to feel like they personally know their idols, even though what cameras show is never the full reality. And that's when things became darker. Closing parenthesis, because the bigger BTS became, the smaller their privacy became. One glance becomes a headline. One facial expression becomes a global theory. And one silent moment can start a war inside the fandom. What's even more shocking is that many of these theories are built through emotional editing. Slow motion. Sad music. Clips taken out of context. And the internet is incredibly powerful at turning ordinary moments into emotional narratives. Closing parenthesis. Ironically, the more fans want to feel close to idols, the more likely they are to create their own version of reality. Stories that feel emotionally true even if they may not actually be true. Closing parenthesis, and behind all of this are two real people, Jungkook and Taehyung, two global idols living under unimaginable pressure, watched by millions, analyzed every single day, and maybe sometimes they simply want to exist as human beings without explaining everything to the world. But there's one thing the fandom rarely talks about. BTS has always been extremely private about personal relationships. They almost never explain emotional dynamics publicly, and maybe that's not because they're hiding something. Maybe some relationships simply aren't meant for public consumption, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, in K-pop culture. Shipping has become a massive part of fandom identity. Fans build stories, create edits, construct emotional narratives, and over time, the line between reality and interpretation begins to disappear, closing parenthesis. Maybe that's why the debate surrounding Jungkook and Taehyung feels so massive, because this isn't just about the BTS members. It's about millions of people who emotionally invested themselves into a relationship. They believed, they understood. Maybe we will never truly know what happens behind the cameras, whether their relationship changed, or whether the internet simply changed the way it sees them, closing parenthesis. But one thing is certain, when someone lives under the spotlight of global fame, even the smallest human moments can lose their original meaning, closing parenthesis, and perhaps that is the saddest side of fame, when real human relationships become endless theories for the world to consume, closing parenthesis. Behind the lights of BTS stages, behind the perfect smiles, there is pressure, exhaustion, privacy slowly disappearing, and millions of fans still searching for answers to something that may never have been meant to be explained. Maybe we became too obsessed with finding meaning in every glance, when sometimes silence is just silence.